April 1980, North Bergen, New Jersey. Police discover a body behind a hotel dumpster. The victim is frozen solid, like a block of ice in the middle of spring. The medical examiner is baffled. Time of death? Impossible to determine. The ice crystals in the tissue suggest he's been dead for weeks, maybe months. But the location of the body says he was dumped recently. It doesn't make sense. What they don't know is that they've just found the calling card of America's most dangerous contract killer. A man who will claim over 100 murders. A man who kept meticulous mental records of every single kill, and a man who lived next door to you in suburbia, coaching Little League and attending PTA meetings. His name is Richard Kuklinski, and for 30 years, he was invisible. 1935, Jersey City. Richard Kuklinski is born into a nightmare. His father, Stanley, is a Polish immigrant who beats his children with fists, belts, and broom handles. The violence is random and constant. One day, Richard's older brother disappears. The official story: fell down the stairs. Years later, Richard will claim his father beat the boy to death, and the family covered it up. His mother, Anna, offers no protection. A religious fanatic, she alternates between ignoring the abuse and delivering her own punishments. Young Richard learns early: show no weakness, feel no pain, trust no one. At 14, Richard gets into a fight with Charlie Lane, a neighborhood bully who's been tormenting him for months. This time, Richard doesn't just fight back. He beats Charlie with a wooden pole until the boy stops moving. He drags the body to a nearby lot and walks away. No remorse, no fear, just a strange calm. "I felt good about it," he'll say decades later. It's his first kill, and it feels like power. By his early 20s, Richard is running with street gangs in Jersey City. He's 6 feet 5 inches, 300 pounds of muscle and rage. People learn quickly not to cross him. He starts working as an enforcer for local bookies, breaking legs and collecting debts. The work comes naturally. In the mid-1950s, during a routine collection at a pool hall, an argument turns violent. Richard pulls a gun and shoots the man dead in front of witnesses. But when police arrive, nobody saw anything. Nobody knows anything. Richard walks away clean. It's the first time he realizes the power of fear. Dead men don't testify, and terrified witnesses don't either. The late 1960s bring a career-defining connection. Roy DeMeo, a rising Gambino family associate, needs someone for wet work. Someone reliable, someone cold, someone who can kill without hesitation. DeMeo hears about the big Polak from Jersey who doesn't ask questions. They meet at a diner in Brooklyn. DeMeo slides a photo across the table. "This guy. Make him disappear. $5,000. Richard studies the photo, nods, and pockets it. 2 days later, the target is dead. No mess, no witnesses, no complications. DeMeo is impressed. "You want more work?" Richard smiles. "Depends on the price." 1961, Richard Kuklinski marries Barbara Pedrici. She's beautiful, kind, and completely unaware of what her husband does for a living. They buy a house in Dumont, New Jersey, a nice neighborhood with good schools and tree-lined streets. Over the next few years, they have 3 children. To the neighbors, Richard is just another hard-working father. He coaches his daughter's softball team, helps with homework, hosts backyard barbecues. When people ask what he does for work, he has a simple answer: currency exchange, import-export, boring business stuff. Barbara will later claim she had no idea. She thought he was a legitimate businessman who traveled for work. Some believe her, others don't. What's undeniable is this: while Richard was kissing his kids goodnight, he was also one of the most prolific contract killers in American history. Richard's methods evolve into a dark art. He doesn't just kill, he experiments. Guns are quick but loud. Knives are messy. Cyanide, though? Cyanide is perfect. He learns to dose drinks, food, even spray it in someone's face. The victim drops dead from apparent heart failure. No bullet holes, no stab wounds, just another middle-aged guy who keeled over. He rents industrial freezers under fake names. After a kill, he stores the body for weeks or months, letting it freeze solid. Then he dumps it somewhere public and lets it thaw. The decomposition patterns confuse medical examiners. Time of death becomes impossible to pinpoint. Alibis hold up perfectly because the victim died weeks before the body was found. The press starts calling him the Iceman, and Richard loves it. But the freezer trick is just one tool in his arsenal. He uses crossbows for silent kills in wooded areas. He feeds one victim to rats in a cave, checking back periodically to watch the body disappear. He once killed a man with a tire iron. knocking out every tooth to prevent dental identification, then dumped the body in a drum of concrete. And perhaps most disturbing, he claims to have killed random homeless people just for practice, testing new methods before using them on actual contracts. "You have to stay sharp," he'll say later. "It's like any other job." 1980, George Malaband, a small-time drug dealer who makes the fatal mistake of crossing one of Richard's employers. Richard lures him to a warehouse with promises of a deal. When Malaband arrives, Richard shoots him 5 times at close range. Then he beats his face with a tire iron until his teeth scatter across the concrete floor. The body goes into a freezer for 2 years. When police finally find it in 1983, they have no idea when Malaband actually died. The case goes cold immediately. 1981, Louis Masgay, a business associate who owes money to the wrong people. Richard meets him in a parking lot, supposedly to collect the debt. Instead, he sprays cyanide in Masgay's face. The man convulses and dies within seconds. Richard loads the body into his car, drives to his rented freezer, and stores it for nearly 2 years. When hunters stumble across Masgay's frozen corpse in 1983, investigators are baffled. The body is rock solid, ice crystals still visible in the tissue, but it's spring, and the body is in the woods. How long has it been here? Days? Weeks? The autopsy can't determine cause of death. The case joins a growing pile of unsolved murders in northern New Jersey. What nobody realizes yet is that one man is responsible for all of them. By the mid-1980s, law enforcement is finally connecting dots. Too many bodies with impossible timelines. Too many victims with ties to organized crime. Too many deaths that look like heart attacks but smell like murder. The ATF assigns Dominic Polifrone to go undercover. Polifrone poses as a mobster looking to buy weapons and hire muscle. Through mutual contacts, he's introduced to Richard Kuklinski. They meet at diners and truck stops over several months. Richard is cautious at first, but Polifrone plays his role perfectly. He asks Richard about jobs, weapons, hits. Richard brags about his work, describing kills in casual detail. Cyanide is the best. Quick, clean, looks natural. You spray it in their face, they go down like a light. Polifrone wears a wire to every meeting. The recordings are gold. December 17th, 1986. Richard agrees to kill one of Polifrone's business rivals for $50,000. They arrange a meeting to finalize details and exchange cyanide samples. When Richard arrives at the truck stop, he's surrounded by armed agents. Handcuffs click shut. Richard says nothing. In his car, police find a pharmacy of poisons: cyanide, arsenic, strychnine. They find guns, knives, and a crossbow. They find notes with names and addresses. But proving murder is a different challenge. Richard knows this. He lawyers up and stays silent. For 2 years, Richard sits in prison awaiting trial. Prosecutors have him on weapons and drug charges, but they want murder convictions. They need him to talk. In 1988, Richard makes a calculation. He's never getting out. Life in prison is guaranteed. But if he cooperates, if he tells his story, he'll be remembered. Not as just another mob thug, but as something bigger, something legendary. He starts confessing, first to his lawyers, then to prosecutors, then to anyone who'll listen. The body count climbs, 5 confirmed murders, then 10, then 20. By the time he's done, Richard claims over 100 kills spanning 3 decades. Some detectives believe him. The details are too specific, too accurate. He describes crime scenes that were never made public. He knows dump sites that were never found. Others think he's exaggerating, inflating his numbers for infamy. The truth probably lives somewhere in between. In 1988, Richard is convicted of 5 murders: Malaband, Masgay, Smith, Deppner, and Hoffman. The evidence is overwhelming. Frozen bodies, cyanide traces, recorded confessions. He receives 5 consecutive life sentences. He'll die in prison, no possibility of parole. But Richard isn't done talking. 1991, HBO releases the Iceman tapes, Conversations with a Killer. Psychiatrist Park Dietz interviews Richard in prison. For 90 minutes, Richard describes his murders with the emotion of someone discussing a grocery list. I killed Malaband because I was paid to. I killed Masgay because I was paid to. I've probably killed more people than you've met in your entire life. When asked if he ever felt remorse, Richard shrugs. Why would I? They were nobody. They didn't matter. The documentary becomes a cultural phenomenon. Criminologists debate his psychology. Is he a pure psychopath, born without conscience? Or did childhood abuse forge him into a killer? In 2001, HBO releases a sequel, The Iceman Confesses: Secrets of a Mafia Hitman. Richard expands on his stories, describing kills in graphic detail. He talks about the practice murders, the homeless men he killed to test new techniques. Nobody cared about them anyway, he says. I was doing society a favor. In 2003, Richard drops a bombshell. He claims he killed Jimmy Hoffa, the Teamsters boss who disappeared in 1975. According to Richard, he lured Hoffa to a meeting, shot him, and disposed of the body in a car compactor. Investigators are skeptical. The timeline doesn't match other evidence. Most believe Richard is lying, chasing headlines one last time. March 5, 2006. Richard Kuklinski dies in prison at age 70. The official cause is heart disease, but rumors circulate. Some say he was about to testify against Sammy the Bull Gravano in a murder trial. Some believe mob associates poisoned him, a fitting end for the man who poisoned so many others. His death closes one chapter, but opens endless debates. How many people did he really kill? He claimed 100 to 250, but only 5 were proven in court. Former associates confirm some of his stories, but others seem impossible. Police files in New Jersey contain dozens of unsolved murders from 1960 to 1986 that might be his work. We'll never know for sure. Barbara Kuklinski writes a book describing years of abuse and terror. She claims Richard beat her and threatened to kill her if she ever left. She says she lived in constant fear, never knowing when her husband might turn his violence on her. The children struggle with their father's legacy. Daughter Merrick Kuklinski eventually speaks publicly, describing the horror of learning her father was a monster. We had no idea, she says. He was just dad. The Iceman changed how police investigate organized crime murders. The freezing technique, once unknown, is now a standard consideration in homicide cases. When bodies are found with impossible decomposition timelines, investigators check for signs of freezing. Richard Kuklinski was many things: a killer, a husband, a father, a liar, a legend. He lived 2 completely separate lives in perfect compartments. By day, a suburban dad. By night, a contract killer who eliminated people the way others eliminate weeds. He kept perfect records, not on paper, but in his mind. Every name, every method, every location. And in the end, he couldn't resist sharing them. Was it ego, a desire for immortality, or simply the final move of a man who controlled everything, even his own legacy? In his last interview before his death, Richard was asked one final question. Do you have any regrets? He smiled. Only that I got caught.